weather's getting cold, at least in some places of the country, and it's football season and fall season, and it is all about busyness, but there's just nothing, right? You guys know there's nothing like hot chili on a cold and dreary and rainy day. So here's what we're gonna do, okay? I'm gonna give you some variations on this one. So this is our creamy white chicken chili. Okay, and so I'm gonna actually make this day of, but here's another little tip for you guys, is make one day of if you wish, and then make one or two more to throw in your freezer. So I'm gonna give you a couple like variations on that for how we will cook day of versus the freezing of this, because this is a really easy one if you're gonna, you know, chop the onions and the peppers and all of that. To just get a number of them in the freezer, because I think this will be one you keep going back to over and over, you know, throughout the fall and the winter, because it's amazing. So anyways, here we go. So what I've got here is, if you are just doing this for a freezer, just close your eyes and pretend this is a Ziploc. For those of you that are cooking same day, this is my multi-cooker pot, and so I've got my chicken in here, and I'm actually gonna double this recipe because it's one that we really like, and it's really, really easy to just to make twice as much. Even if I freeze the leftovers, there won't be leftovers, but in the event there actually was, I could freeze them again, okay? So real simple. If this was your bag, I'm gonna do all of the bag ingredients first, and then we'll talk about just adjusting for cooking, okay? So you're gonna start with your chicken, frozen or fresh, either way, okay? And then we're gonna add our onion. Okay, so I've already got that chopped up. Okay, and you're just gonna put that in there. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna add is our poblano pepper. I get asked a lot what these are. This is what they look like. It is not a jalapeno, which looks like this. This is a poblano pepper, so it's not a bell pepper. I really, really like these for any type of Mexican-inspired dish, because they're the, what do you call these? The meat, the actual like vegetable of this. So a bell pepper, you know, is a little bit thicker. And what I find is that piece gets kind of soggy when you cook. These are a lot thinner, and so they will not, you know, they're just not as fleshy on the inside, so they just don't get as soggy when you cook, which is awesome. So I love them for Mexican dishes. Okay, so I went ahead then on that and chopped up one or two. Again, I'm doubling this, so there's extra here. Okay, so there we go. We've got our peppers, our onions. The next thing we're gonna add is garlic, and there is quite a bit of garlic in this recipe. 4 cloves. So if you're using your garlic press, press away. Look at that, it was so messy, it got everywhere. So I'm gonna just get the actual garlic off of the skin here, throw the rest. Whoops, we're not using that one. If you're using just pre-bought minced garlic, it's gonna be about, I believe it's 1 tablespoon to 1 clove. So you feel free to adjust as you know you wish for your family, but you can go ahead and load up on the garlic in this one, right? Immune boosting, germ killing from the inside out. What a mess. This usually works a lot better. Okay, so apparently this press, well, it's met its match with garlic. Anyways, garlic is in there, okay? So now we're up to chicken, onions, peppers, and garlic. Now we're gonna add our seasoning. And so we're using the chipotle seasoning in this one, okay? And then we're also gonna add some cumin, a couple teaspoons of that. Remember, I'm doubling this, so don't do what I do. follow your recipe. Okay, and then the last thing we will add for seasoning wise is just salt and pepper. So you can do that right away. You can also do it right at the end of cooking, you know, to taste. And if you want this to be a little bit more spicy, you could add red pepper and, you know, cayenne pepper instead of the black pepper. The other thing you can add is 1 jalapeno. And so you would just obviously dice that as is. I like to just serve these on the side because then the adults can add, but it doesn't make it so spicy for my kids that they don't want to eat it. So that's just what I do. But if you love spice and your kids, your whole family loves spice, go ahead and add 1 jalapeno, maybe more if you wish. So the last thing that we're adding to our bag, our freezing cooking, this is salsa verde. Okay, so it's a green salsa. This is just a mild, but if you can also buy this. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've never had that happen before. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna add half of this jar. You can buy this in a hot as well. So again, if you really want this spicy, have fun. Okay, so here is what we would include in our bag. So on cooking day, you are gonna add some chicken stock, but I like to add that after, okay? Number one, pouring this into a bag and freezing it, in my personal experience, is a recipe for disaster. And so this, although there is some liquid in there from the salsa, it's not terrible. And so at this point, I would go ahead and freeze up the bag. I would just keep your chicken stock on hand. And then we'll go ahead from there. So, couple choices on day of cooking. You can slow cook this all day if you wish. And if you are choosing to slow cook, I would go ahead and put all of your other ingredients in there so that literally when you walk in the door, you're just gonna add the cheeses, which we'll get to in just a minute, and it's ready to go. Now, if you wanna do a pressure cook, so on your multi-cooker, you're gonna choose the poultry setting. It will preset to 15 minutes. If you're doing just a normal batch of this, that's probably fine. I'm gonna bump this to 20 because I've got double the chicken in here. And so the reason why I'm gonna do this first is because I will then be able to take these quick shred and just shred my chicken right in here. And then I will add everything else to basically make the chili. Okay, so a lot of options there for you guys. There's plenty of liquid in here with the salsa to pressure cook this. And so even if you're doing this pressure cook, it will take you, less than 30 minutes to get this ready. So when it's finished, you're gonna add your chicken stock. And if you would like really hearty chili, you're gonna add less. If you like a little bit more runny, you're gonna add a little more. But roughly, I'm gonna add this entire carton. It's a quart, so 4 cups of chicken stock to mine. Once it's done cooking, because I am going to pressure cook this, I'm not adding beans until after I'm done, because the beans get very pressurized. They kind of get mushy, and I don't like that. So, this can be frozen if this is your bag, and you will keep this and your beans. So you'll go ahead and just drain those. You'll add them after your pressure cooking. Again, if you're slow cooking, chuck it all in there. Okay, so when it's all done cooking, the last thing you're gonna add, and you guys hopefully know this, dairy is not great for high temperatures. And so at the very end, just right before serving, this will take about 5 minutes. So for a regular, batch of this, you're gonna use half of a block of cream cheese. I'm doubling, so I'm gonna use this whole block. And I'm gonna simply put it in here, and I'm gonna kind of submerge it under the hot liquid. I'm also gonna add the cheddar cheese in there, and I'm gonna put the lid on it, and I'm gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna come and it will be all melted, and I will just mix it up, and then it is ready to serve, okay? So that's the creamy white chicken chili in a nutshell. In terms of serving this, you can add lime juice, you can add lime wedges, you can have cilantro, avocados, pico, all of those awesome, kind of Mexican side dishes. The other thing that goes really, really well with this is cornbread. And so that's another really fun one. We love to do our cornbread in either the cast iron or even the brownie pans. So they're a little bit, personal size. They get nice and crunchy on the outside, but they're nice and soft on the inside. And if we're really doing a treat night, those Fritos scoops are a kid favorite, okay? So they will eat a lot of this with that. There is your creamy white chicken chili. Let us know what you guys think. It's this is hearty and it's delicious, and as you can see from here, we put in chicken and a whole bunch of vegetables. So if you need to keep this dairy free, I would just omit the cream cheese and the cheddar cheese and just have it more of a, you know, white chicken chili kind of a soup. It's going to be a little bit more like a tortilla soup in terms of consistency. The cheeses are definitely what's going to thicken it up. But there is no gluten in this, so gluten is yours to add if you wish, and if not, enjoy.